So, there was just like a small insight. It's still based with that future planning, but something just like became very clear with this like concrete sense of me being here. A mind function is always to move somewhere, to go somewhere. It has to be this like goal where to go. And it's kind of like a narrowed, more like a tunnel vision, moving forward. Movement. Moving towards movement. It's like, yeah, attention narrows to kind of like a point, and this like narrowing of attention gives a sense of concrete solid me associated with body, because when attention narrows, a contraction in the body becomes stronger, and it's felt like very like me here, and body becomes like more tense, and it's kind of like solidifies, and it gives that like a concrete boundaries as well. The boundaries is also that mental like picture image applied on this body sensations, which becomes like very clear at some stage. Like insistence to put that picture, that image on the body sensations, you know, like to give a form, but that form is just like if you draw a doll, like a human shape on the paper and cut it off, that's what it is. That's how this like form is created, through mental mind creation. It's like a picture applied on body sensations. So when going through shadow works, doing the shadow work, not you can't even say you're doing it, because it's self-happening process. But yeah, there is like sense someone is doing it. So more this like what this self seems to be, how I see it at the moment, it's more like all these coping mechanisms, and these coping mechanisms are created to not directly experience what is happening in the body on the nervous system level. All these sensations, which are yucky, not pleasant, discomfort, and all this. So when like baby born, they naturally have this like wired in our nervous system, in our like survival, to attach to caregivers. And when through our upbringing, we can create 4 attachment styles: secure attachment, dismissive avoidant, fearful avoidant, and anxious preoccupied. Neither of them is better or worse. Like if you're lucky enough, if you had emotionally regulated caregivers who were like more secure themselves, and you had consistent physical emotional care available when you needed that, when you were soothed by your caregivers, when and how you need it, when not even you at your nervous system creates a secure attachment. And then what our nervous system what attachment style our nervous system created when we were babies to our caregivers later in the adult's life, we project that, not project, but we transposition to our romantic partners. Any interaction, also with your children, there is attachment style. With your friends, with your parents, there is always some kind of attachment style behind. And your attachment style can be different with your friends, and that's different with your romantic partner, it's different with your children, different with your parents. So later going through this like awakening process and doing this shadow work, all these mechanisms, how to cope with, because like for nervous system, like something happens in the environment and it reacts. And if there is something stressful to the system, nervous system, it needs to settle down to regulate back to regulated state. So we learn as babies how we regulate our nervous system. As I mentioned, like if you receive consistent care from your caregivers, mom and dad, as like normal mom and dad, but it can be anyone. If mom and dad not there, it can be your granny maybe is bringing you up, or you grow up with your aunt. Who knows? Everyone's life is different. So if you had your caregivers sometimes available, sometimes not available, sometimes available, sometimes not available, and to regulate your nervous system, you couldn't get your caregivers consistently, so your nervous system becomes like more activated for that connection, and that is how anxious attachment style creates in the nervous system. There is like higher anxiety in the body, that fight flight response. Yeah, that's nervous system is activated more in the sympathetic side, and you're constantly like seeking other to co-regulate your nervous system. If there is like, if your nervous system becomes through stressful experiences becomes agitated, and then if you can't get that connection, there is like more anxiety arising to release more fight and flight response in the nervous system to seek more stronger that, because you need to grasp someone. That's an only way nervous system learned how to regulate itself. That's all can be redone when you do, like it can be reprogrammed. Your nervous system can be healed into a secure, but it's, like work needs to be done. And so opposite to anxious attached, there is dismissive avoidance. People who through their upbringing they couldn't regulate through their caregivers. There was too much of emotional neglect normally. A caregiver's like emotionally unavailable. They kind of like emotionally closed off themselves, so baby can't regulate through them. There's like no connection there. So baby's nervous system learns to pull away, and the nervous system goes into a freeze response. So as adults, these people, dismissive avoidance, they grow up learning when their nervous system becomes overflooded with emotions, stress response, their nervous system goes into a freeze and they detach. They need a distance and they need their own space. They go into a shutdown, they don't talk and things like this. And then there is fearful avoidant attachment style, which is also called disorganized, when caregivers aware a source of safety and simultaneously a source of danger, because sometimes baby could be soothed and was nurtured through mom and dad, their caregivers, and that safety in their system, was established, regulated itself through mom and dad. And same time, at times, caregivers were not safe, it really depends, the nervous system themselves could be to a lot of anger or a lot of anxiety or a lot of sadness. They dysregulated themselves, or in a lot of cases, most of cases, there was emotional neglect, physical neglect, emotional abuse, physical abuse to children. And that's how disorganized, fearful, avoidant attachment style forms, when nervous system is seeking other human to connect, to regulate, and same time it fears that, so it pulls away. I want you, but you're too danger for me. I want you, but you're too danger for me. It's like pull and push and pull and push. And so when we go through shadow work, we get through all these mechanisms, kind of untangle them back, and we see all these beliefs, all these coping mechanisms, all the emotional charge, which is blockages in the body, body holding this energies, blocks of energies squeezed somewhere in the body. And through shadow work, we untangle these coping mechanisms, and also body releases all this stored energies or stored blockages of energies. So we teach our nervous system, we provided enough safety so attention can actually land in the body and directly experience all the sensations. And there are different tools, how to create enough safety on nervous system level so it doesn't freak out, doesn't pull out from a body into mind space. That's why that's why it happens when there is something intense in the body. Attention shoots in the mind, and there is the stories. So we don't really feel what is happening on the body level. So we're living in the head, but there is no one is living in the head. It's just attention shoots up. And so doing the shadow work, creating enough safety in the body, attention learns to sink in the body and not jump out. A body kind of more relaxes more, and it feels like attention relaxes, body relaxes. And that's why this sense and all these energies, all this squeezed, blocked energies in physicality, they getting released, and tension getting released in the body, because body doesn't need to hold it as tight. And all this sense of me, localized, concrete, that tension is getting released, and also this sense of me is getting released, because also this whole mechanism's getting released, and this me kind of is all these coping mechanisms, this resistance not to feel. So more this me releases and attention just kind of becomes more like a field instead of this narrowed tunnel vision me concrete point here, moving somewhere out there to feel better there. Because I don't want what is happening here now. And over there will be something better. And that's how we create our goals, our aims, whatever we want to achieve, what we want to reach, what we want to gain, things like this. So with this attention release, sense of self releases, tension in the body releases, and there is more like, it becomes like more like a field. And this field is the visual field, a sound field, sensations field. It becomes like one experience. And then that one experience, that sense of me, it dissolves. It becomes less and less and less. And it's just this like self-perceiving, self-living, self-knowing, this like field experience in itself. But there is no any, you can't even say I am a field, because obviously there is no any you, despite sense of you still is there. Bizarre. But so yeah, and like once you go from this like localized tense point, me, tunnel vision, I'm moving there from point A to point B, and this is like a normal sense of me, normal way of mind, how normally mind functions. So when that process kind of reverses back to this expanded field, attention expands to that boundless field of experience, then there is like clear seeing that there is nowhere to go, and there is no one can go anywhere. Because for someone to go somewhere, it has to be someone here moving somewhere there. But when you see this, like, it's just this field of experience, which contains thoughts come and going, emotional charges, body sensations, visual appearances, sounds. It's all the same. There is no distinction. And then there is nowhere to go. And there is no one can go anywhere. And that's why it feels like no goals. But same time, when there is this me going there and your vision is tunnel, there is kind of like expectation, anticipation, how this supposed to happen, and where me supposed to get, and how this me is going to get there. So anything happens in the life, you know, like whatever life experience crosses this tunnel vision trajectory of this me is resisted, because there are expectations created in the head, in the mind, through thoughts as a construct, where this me is supposed to go and how this is supposed to happen. So anything is not matching that plan, a map, is resisted. And we are wired, our biology is wired to resist pain and seek pleasure. So when there is more of the field, more relaxation of attention becomes like more expanded. There is also less resistance to anything, and it becomes like this field is opened. It's not like filled open. It's just like that's openness. That's all there is. That vastness, openness, spaciousness, field. You can call it in different names, like sense of I am, beingness, whatever. There's still no name to that. No label you can put on it. And then, like, whatever experience comes up, it's just what is happening. And even if resistance still appears, it's still what is happening. Because somehow something still is resisting. But there is no resistance to resistance. Because it's all kind of like noticed, seen, experienced, felt, recognized. And it's just like, because there is no trajectory, no plan how someone's supposed to get there, no map. Whatever happens in this field, whatever appears in the moment, it's just what happens, and there is nothing resistance that, because there is no maps, there are no expectations, and that what it feels like you know, like I don't care what is happening, or like I have no goals, or you know, like life becomes like this interesting, like careless. But that's, you know, like it's all interpretations of this residue of me, you know, that mind, you know, like still trying to navigate through mental constructs, trying to explain this field from the mind point of view, from the self point of view. Because clearly in that beingness, this like the I am sense, the field, openness, vastness, spaciousness. It's just, that's all there is, and whatever appears in that, that's all there is. More I'm looking into that field, more mind just goes blank. It becomes like harder and harder to think and talk. It's because this like sense of me disappears from, you know, like more attention kind of like relaxes in this, more sense of me disappears. Mind becomes like, mental activity becomes like quieter, slows down, and it's just like more like a blank space. Nothing much is coming. And so at times you're just like, oh, blank. Oh, blank. So yeah, it was just like another blabber. I was just like sitting there, and it was one moment just like, oh, I was like so clearly how this like me is going from point A to point B, that trajectory, narrow vision, tunnel vision, like narrowed attention focus, and then this like openness, vastness, and in that openness, vastness, there are no expectations, no anticipations, and you could say like allowance, but that's not right, because nobody's allowing anything. It's just like what is happening anyway. So you can't even say allowance, because allowance is just like, no one is allowing, it's happening without anyone allowing. Allowance is like naturally there. Even that seems like it's like too much said, too much added, because it's not like it's there. And so any experience, it becomes like any experience is welcomed, but no one is welcoming it. It's just happening. It's more like you're open to any possibility because there is no map, there is no narrowing, and in this openness can happen anything, and you don't know what's going to happen next. So there is kind of more like mind settles into this unknown, what is next, and it's not making this mental construct what next supposed to be like. So it's yeah, like, and then there is no expectations, no planning what next supposed to be like. There is this allowance and welcoming, which is naturally here anyway. Okay, that's enough blabber for today.